Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilakshyan Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasishtha, Utpatti Prakarana, section 2. Through an allegorical story of Akashaja Brahmana, what has been presented to you is the knowledge, jnana, that Brahman alone exists. And this word is mithya. The English word myth comes from mithya. Mithya means illusion. A story told to a baby that has not grown up yet. Simple points further. Nirmal mind when it becomes free of mala, gross impurities. Nirmal mind glimpses Brahman through Brahmakara Vritti. You will be introduced to those two terms. Vishayakara Vritti, thought waves that give you knowledge of objects of the world. It's called Vishayakar. Vishayakar has two aspects. Mind has to act upon the object. Mind as if envelops the object. An object must become a content of your mind. First stage. Second stage, the soul within must bring a light to allow the object to be perceived by you. Two factors are involved. Thought wave, vritti, Sanskrit is called vritti vyapti. First, vritti must envelop the object. Then phala vyapti. Then the reflected self must bring about the perception. Perception is brought about by your soul. To give you simple illustration, you have kept in a room something of importance in a box. So, what you need to do, first open the lid of the box, and still you can't see it. You have to have a flashlight. Vishayakara Vritti opens the lid, but simply because you have allowed the mind to cover the object, as if allegorical language, allowed the mind to work upon the object. You need your soul to bring a light upon it. If soul is not involved, so many things come in your mind and they are not perceived. So, that's the predicament of all experiences. All experiences occur in three planes. Physical plane, physical realities. Realities based on your feelings, sentiments. Reality based on your intellect and your understanding. All these come under Vishayakara Vritti, where soul is involved along with the function of mind. But for attaining enlightenment, mind has to come to a state of bringing about Brahmakara Vritti. Brahmakara Vritti is the intuitional movement of the mind. Brahmakara Vritti removes ignorance. Think of a box that contains a highly powered light inside. But it's covered, it's dark. So go towards the box. You don't need to bring flashlight now. All that you have to do is to lift the cover. The same simile applies if you have Brahmakara Vritti. Now soul's light is a reflected light. Soul's light is not needed. And what happens? The revelation, light of lights, flashes out. So this point has to be brought into your mind. Perceiving object and perceiving Brahman, perceiving God, there is a big difference. When you perceive objects, your soul retains its individuality and its relationship with object. An illusion also develops that in this world of objects you are going to be very happy. And you are moved from life to life, chasing that illusion. That's Vishayakara Vritti. Vishayakara relates to Vishaya, Vishaya relates to wish, wish relates to poison. That's amazing poison. It kills you, birth after birth. Brahmakara Vritti. Now the mind has come to purified state, nirmal. Nirmal mind is normal mind. This English word normal is derived from nirmal. If you're really healthy, ideally healthy, the mind has to be nirmal, free of impurities. If that is so, then Brahmakara Vritti arises from that mind. Because the mind does not have any object as reality. It can't grab any object. Allegorically, it flows towards Brahman. And that aspect of the mental process, Brahmakara Vritti, removes the veil of ignorance. And as veil of ignorance is removed, like cloud is removed, you don't need a torchlight to see the sun. Cloud is removed and the sun shines forth. Even your awareness that there is a cloud and you have to remove it is due to the diffuser light of the sun. Even the idea, I'm seeing darkness, where the sun is gone. And the evaluation of darkness is very dark or not so dark. You must realize the sun is working in a very diffused manner to make you perceive degrees of darkness. All these are many details that we'll gradually work upon. And that's the purpose of this Yoga Vasishtha or all Vedantic scriptures and purpose of all religions, to allow the mind to become nirmal, purified, thereby the only object before your mind, object here is quotations, the Brahman alone, the reality. For still easier understanding, think of being by the ocean with the purpose of directing your mind to understand the ocean. You have two choices. Go after waves and see how interestingly every wave spins a big story. It comes with a whole family set, mama waves, papa waves, brother waves. So say goodbye, waves, wavy goodbye. If you are seeing the ocean from that point of view, that's called Vishayakara vritti. Puts your mind with full of stress and tension. On the other hand, look at the ocean. All this is nothing but the ocean. And a profound fullness overwhelms your perception. That's similar to Brahmakara vritti. Entire universe and all experiences, they are effect of Maya, Brahman appearing as this world process. Through Maya, through a kind of a magic, a divine magic. Brahman is beyond time and space. There is no beginning, middle, or end for Brahman, the absolute self. In the next section, the whole world is presented as Brahma's creation. But Brahma and Brahman, you must understand the big difference. Brahman is the absolute self. And Brahma is creator. Same Brahman, through Maya, plays the role of being a creator of the universe. So from Brahma down to a blade of grass, allegorical language, is nothing but illusion. Brahman alone exists. This world is known as Prapanch, fivefold. Sat Chit Ananda, name and form. These five items become fivefold. Sat, existence. All things have the common denominator, existence. Also understand, when we talk of existence of a thing, and philosophy talks of existence in itself. Existence in itself is Brahman, realized by Brahmakara vritti. Existence of a thing relates to object, realized by a mental function, Vishayakara vritti. Now, first, you are being introduced to shocking news that this prapanch never existed and it will never going to exist. Untruth has no existence. When did the falsehood arise? How long does it live? And when does it die? Falsehood has no such story about it. Darkness doesn't have any story. It doesn't have its reality. And that's the whole world process. All that you experience. Sat Chit Ananda, Sat existence, Chit consciousness, Ananda joy. But these three are one and the same, but presently count them as three. These three are covered by the illusion of names and forms. Names and forms are created by your mind. Just like when you watch a cinema show, every image that comes is a combination of the screen and the projection. The screen is Satchit Ananda. Projection is names and forms. Names implies concepts that you develop. Say, for example, you have built a new home, purchased a land and built your own home. That experience has two components. One you are seeing in front of you, form. Another you are seeing in your pocket, the identity. Pocket means in your concept. In your concept, this home is mine. It's not written on the house. You may write it. So, that's the 5 factors go to compose the world experience. Out of the 5, if the 2 moves away, which is purely based on mind, and no 2 minds experience in the same way. Though from practical point of view, it seems like you see the things and many things appear the same to all human beings. Appear. But no 2 persons are seeing things exactly in the same way. Firstly, all eyes don't have the exact vision. Secondly, the seeing mind is not always in the same mood. And thirdly, the associations that arise whenever you see something, your unconscious helps you to interpret it by giving all previous associations related to that. All this is different in each person. Same time passes. Clock says it is the same time, 9 to 10, 10 to 11. But what happens during that time to different people, even in the same family? There are 12 people living, all during 1 hour of time. How did they feel that time? Each one experienced it differently. But to a journalist, they passed 1 hour. All of them. Try to figure out. So therefore, all things, entire life that you live, from bondage to release, all the story is told by your mind. And that mind is mithya, not reality. Brahman never suffered bondage. And the question of being released doesn't arise. Countless reflected suns. Each reflected sun has a big story to tell. The sun, the real sun, never dipped into the water and got caught into a jar. Every soul, every living being is a combination of self and not self. The terminology has been used by Vasishtha. One is called Ativahik, another is called Adhibhautik. Adhibhautik is physical. Physical means material, matter. Ativahik, that which is transcendental, which is the selves. For easy understanding, remember self and not self. Both have become blended in every individual in the state of ignorance. And therefore, that type of movement has to commence in your mind, led by reflection, meditation, that type of movement that differentiates the self from the not self. In simpler language, you begin to understand, I am not the body, I am not the mind, not the intellect, I am not the senses. Anything that you not is not self. The broader term for that is matter. Even mind is matter. Another point, all your experiences in this world, they are like experiences in dream. And just as having experienced a dream, and suppose in dream you had a very prosperous situation, you have gotten pearls and jewels and a whole treasure. Suddenly wakes you up, someone wakes you up. Or you wake up. Then not a single pearl or jewel can you carry from your dream to the waking world. Not a needle point of land. See, Mahabharata points out that allegorical thing. Duryodhana representing the ignorance, egoism. He doesn't want to give to the Pandavas any portion of land, and his terminology is he wouldn't give him a needle point of land to the Pandavas. It's completely, if you take it literally, seems quite a irrational statement. Mystically, it is a very rational statement. All that land that is viewed as real by ignorance and its forces. From ignorance point of view, the dream has its reality. The waking world has its reality. But just like when you wake up from your dream, you can't carry anything of the dream. In the same way, when you attain enlightenment, you don't take anything of this world. The entire world moves away. If you have the idea by attaining liberation, you will secure every possession you have in this world, then that's an illusion. Not a penny of this world. Which makes you sad, then you have not understood Vedanta. It's the most blissful attainment. Manomatram yada brahma na prithivyaadimayatmaka manomatramato vishwam yad jantam tadevahi. Brahma is manomatra, mind. The very idea of creator, it relates to mind. Because through your mind, you see the whole world. And through your reasoning, there must be some creator. So therefore, comes easy to understand. Brahma, the creator, created the world. How did he create it? He felt lonely. But this is not the story, Brahma. This is not the real. That's what you are experiencing. through your mind. So all your concept of how the world is and who created it is not the reality. It may be helpful in your evolution, but is not the reality. All that is perceived by the mind is illusory, maya. This doesn't mean that you want to shut out everything that mind perceives. From practical point of view, the whole plan has to develop in your life. A plan, let me summarize before you. 3 great obstacles that do not allow you to become enlightened. Mala, Vikshepa and Avarana. Mala relates to gross impurities, anger, hate, greed, and so forth. Mala has to be removed by Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is to give a special value to duties that you perform. Create a special attitude behind those actions. And that Gita goes on giving you deeper insight. Karma plus vikarma becomes akarma. In other words, actions you are doing. But when you do the same actions blended with devotion to God, blended with the idea, I am not the doer. God is working through me. Blended with the idea of charity, austerity, yajna, all those points have to be understood. So, but when action is done with a specialized attitude and understanding, then action becomes yoga. Your life enjoys being involved with action because it flows. You don't have yoga, life stops its flow, becomes stagnant. Without karma yoga, it stays stagnant and breaks in from one lake, it breaks into many lakes, stagnant ones. But when it flows, goes on to the ocean. Karma yoga that's the purpose of karma yoga. That removes mala. Next obstacle comes is vikshepa. As gross impurities begin to dwindle means they become sublimated. Anger becomes sublimated into love. Conceit and pride become conceited into humility. Miserliness becomes generosity. Impatience becomes patience. All negative begin to sublimate. The energy that arises out of it is of extraordinary nature. It is not your muscle energy, not the energy of your bones. I'm not underestimating all that. But it's a subtle energy that allows you to face the challenges of life in a profound way and emerge victorious even after facing extreme miseries. You can see the lives of sages and saints. So, now you come to vikshepa aspect, that energy that begins to develop. How to handle that energy? People who suddenly become rich, they begin to jump. They don't know how to do with all the wealth. Now you are developing internal energy. And there, the mantra before for handling that energy is bhakti. The Upanishadic terminology, upasana, is a blend of bhakti and dhyana. Bhakti implies prayer, japa, mantra, all things that are termed also as puja, worshipping God. Worship blended with profound meditation. That's called upasana. The more you allow your mind to go through this, vikshepa begins to come in order. The energy now, instead of just going in all directions, aimlessly, that energy now finds a goal, a one-pointed movement towards attaining liberation. And when that has occurred, the third bondage called veiling, called ignorance, that ignorance is removed. That's when Brahmakara vritti arises and it tears the veil of ignorance. Keeping this in view, Sage Vasishtha says, mind always deals with causation. Everything that you have, you are very happy, the mind finds a cause, why I am happy. The moment you experience pain, the mind starts finding its cause. Because my mother bit me hard in the childhood. I'm joking. But really not joking. And people who have studied karma, law of karma, the mind starts working. In this life, I don't think I have done that type of karma. But I must have done in the previous one. Let me find an astrologer who will tell me whether it was 3 lives back or 5 lives back. Your mind goes into a big research. Unfortunately, you don't have any Google for it. And in simple way, every situation, the mind creates a concept of cause and effect. But in Brahman, cause and effect, causation is completely transcended. Causation is in the realm of Maya. It has nothing to do with truth. Truth alone shines. Those who have attained knowledge of truth, they perceive the truth just like with the old illustration of snake on the rope. They have perceived the rope, and for them snake has no existence. But those who are not enlightened, rope is there, but rope is not the basis of their comfort, the basis of their big trouble. The rope is perceived by them as snake. And now it's up to your imagination. Snake can have many aspects. It can raise its hood. Bolt says snakes have many hoods. It can spit poison on you. And this illusory snake, if you are in the state of ignorance, you are terribly affected by this illusion of snake. But here what I am referring to, the whole world illusion creates this type of experience that you are being affected, you are being afflicted because of the world. But that all the pain and sorrow and the misery and death, they are the effect of illusory snake, illusory ignorance. The reality is just like rope, completely different, completely beyond all that appears to be so negative. Children sometimes create a negative imagination. Suppose they are looking through a window and seeing a tree. Suppose the sun it's a kind of a twilight. You don't have full light of the sun. Now the child has seen many comic things, and these days childs are very progressive. They have seen many things with computers and all that. Now the child imagines that there is a Pishachi, a she-devil. Can be he-devil as well, though. That is seated on the branch and planning to enter his home and kidnap him. He looks around, nobody is there, he's going to be kidnapped by a big devil. And the devil, he imagines all the fear that he has already heard about. The devil has many horns, he has big teeth, ears are bringing out some sound of a strange nature. And the child comes to terrible harm based on its own imagination. But this is just an illustration. Same thing happens to all. As long as you are gripped by ignorance, you play the same role in different degrees. As long as there is ignorance, there is drishya buddhi, an intellect that believes in the reality of the world. As long as that belief in the reality of the world exists, your soul continues to be dependent on karma. Goes on creating karmas, coming back again and again, because this is the world where the soul has to find its rest. But as enlightenment, as you move towards enlightenment, that drishya buddhi, the intellect that believes in the reality of the world, that intellect moves away. You develop bhranti buddhi. The whole world is nothing but maya, an illusion. If this world has a reality, then it will never subside. No one needs to come to satsanga because satsanga will not give you any answer. If this world is real, all religions are useless. All satsangas, all preachings are all just nothing. But because this world is unreal, and that experience comes from most profound sages and saints, and therefore the value of scriptural knowledge that can enable you to promote that type of intellect. As long as your intellect has developed that conviction that this drishya, the world process, is real, there can be no liberation for that person. But when that purified intellect, subtle intellect grasps all this is illusion, then what shines forth is non-duality of the self. The state of liberation is advaita. There is no duality. It is also known as kaivalya. One alone exists. Sri Rama asks I'm always moving away from many details. There is a whole section of detail about how all the day declined. Well, Vasishtha was telling the story. Then all went. Then next day they all gathered. All the details that you have to leave it for your imagination. And next day when they are all settled, Rama initiates the session. Rama asks, "O sage, what's the nature of this mind?" Having heard the mind creates everything. What is the nature of the mind? Since you have explained to me, this Loka Manjari. Manjar is just like when you look at a tree, many branches, and branches, many creepers. Put them all together, they are all become the manjar. So is the world. And there is a world within world. And it's quite complicated. It's Loka Manjari. And in spite of all that, if you are a Dalwit, then I see what is a garden. There are lots of wonderful things. I'm giving you in a different context. In a positive context, it's good to view God manifesting in all. But here, what I'm highlighting is how the illusion of the world exists in a very complicated fashion. Just like the trees exist, entwining each other. This is Loka Manjari. And mind is the creator of this Loka Manjari. And Vasishtha said, "O Rama, this entire Loka Manjari doesn't exist. Because the mind itself has no reality. Brahman alone exists. And all this has emanated from Brahman through Maya. Macha vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam." Upanishadic statement which says, all vikaras are modifications. Brahman is the source. And all things are modifications of Brahman. The Upanishad says, all these are palavras. Vacharambhanam, they're play of words. The reality is Brahman. Just as same rays of the sun that give light and allows things to be revealed, same rays create mirage. And it causes lot of trouble, called Mrigatrishna. The deer developing the idea there is water in mirage. They go after the mirage. They have been very thirsty, and now going deeper and deeper into the dry desert, they just die. But that becomes another allegorical way to say all souls going after fulfillment of their Trishna. Trishna is craving for putreshana, for having children, etc. Vitteshana, having wealth. Lokeshana, being very popular. 3 types of eshanas, when you crush them together, they become Trishna. 3 Ishna. And soul that is gripped by this Trishna begins to see a mirage type of world before them. The idea that they can quench their thirst, led by, and you go on creating karmas after karmas. And karmas go on giving you embodiment after embodiment. No matter how improved may be your situation, you're poor, you become rich. Unhealthy, you become healthy. You're a lonely person, you become a big family. You're not recognized, you become popular, go viral. But you end up when? Where? In a hospital. And that doesn't become your end either. From there, you go into another family. You start your story again. This is like going after mirage or quenching the thirst. And every soul is a dear, dear. As long as the desire for fulfilling your thirst, Krishna, through the world process, as long as this type of sankalpa or desire exists, you are in a state of bondage. As long as these sankalpas exist for objects of the world, there exists mind. If sankalpas are not there, there is no mind. As long as there is moisture, there is cloud. If moisture is not there, there is no cloud. Simple way to understand. Cloud and rain are not two different things. So mind and vasanas, they are not two different things. Mind and Krishna, they are one and the same. The goal of spiritual movement is to bring about manonash, and which implies all your vasanas, subtle desires, all your thirst moves away along with the mind. This is expressed in the statement, Man eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. Mind is the cause of bondage and release. So the whole focus is how to handle the mind. And that's a big riddle. Start putting your hand on your head. With this, I will Om Shanti Shanti.